Hello and welcome. I'm Master Lama G, and this is our Wednesday edition of Rasaji Speaks. Hope you've had a good beginning to your week. Remember, the girls are on at 1 and 7:30 today for the gathering. Be sure to say hi. Today, our title is Architect of the Stars, Unveiling the Mysteries of the Atlantean Architecture. Well, there were a lot of domes, that's for sure, in the construction of Atlantis, from what I understand. And there were spiraling staircases that would take people from one level to the other. Ornaments and carvings and different paintings you would see as you went from one. What was the basic skin tone of Atlanteans? Kind of like Mediterranean, more olive skin color. They had Mongoloid traits, Native American traits that were very popular. There are said that the Atlanteans and what they seeded, eventually you saw some ancient Greeks much later, and actually Egyptians, and maybe even the early part of Persia in the Middle East. Structural material that was used: concrete, timber, a mixed structure of different kinds of composites. Also, the Bible never mentions lost Atlantis. One of the most interesting things I find interesting is Plato refers to the Atlantean time around 360 BC. So he refers to it, for the most part. It very well could be tied to the flood when they went down, even though there's not much in the Bible. That's kind of where the Lamaseries mindset was. The Judean text, you have to understand, guys, was isolated to that part of the world. It was a very small part of the world between Egypt, and Pakistan for the most part. So imagine Egypt to Pakistan. Most of everything that happened in the Old Testament was pretty much in that area, right? Well, that left 80 to 90% of the globe going. What was going on there? Well, according to the people that I've talked with over the years in the Lamasery, Atlantis, was built right off the coast of Florida. It's a long way from Palestine. And yet artifacts have shown up now all through the Atlantic front, and also had seeded around the Gulf of Mexico, and parts of Atlantis have been found by archaeologists all the way to Texas. It's pretty interesting. But they said that the bloodline very much could have been rooted in the Aborigines, which I think that is a very, very interesting. How long did Atlanteans live? Obviously, they were in the Treta to the Sata Yuga, because the longevity was plus 150 years old. So see, there's another time period that dwarfs even what our average age is now, which is 75 to 80 for males, 80 to 85. This is the life insurance tables, right? Lamaji used to work in that field. I know him very well. So that's almost double. And we're moving back to that. So it was on the descent I would imagine that we were going from the Treta to the Dark Power Yuga. And that's kind of times it toward the flood. So the flood, it makes a lot of sense, practical, had a lot to do, the Noah's flood that tied into the sinking of Atlantis, which is about 4,500 years ago. Very, very interesting. So they had a lot of imbalances. The power center and the heart chakra had opened up together. They were huge into chanting, into mantra. Music and art was like, really, I mean, it was like over a 1,200-year-old culture. 1,200-year-old culture. I mean, look at the culture we're building in our community. And we're, at one level, you can say, yeah, we're 3,000 years old, but that's the closed teaching of the Lamasery. The open teachings is what Lamaji started 41 years ago, belly to belly. About 3 or 4 years later, Master David and other people began to show up, right? But online, it's 4 years ago. We're in infancy, literally infancy. We're into. Going to be a huge shift in the next 5 years. You won't. Those of you that's been with us 3 years or longer, you're going to scratch your head because you're going to realize what happens in the next 5 years. And most people and most organizations would not get that done in 30 to 50 years. What we're going to get done between now and 2030. We're just going to lay the foundation. So it's wonderful that you spiritual pioneers and spiritual patriots are with us in this early stage. Man, you're going to have some stories for your grandkids and your great grandkids. There's going to be some heck of a stories. Just what we establish between now and 2030 is that next wave where we go from internet and the tours to wellness centers, ranches, retreat, and the Lamasery. It's going to be huge. We're going to create things that Atlantean time just never knew. And we're shooting for another 5 to 10,000 years. We're working toward the next Ramayana. That's one of the reasons Hanuman's here, right? And Boganathar is here to finish what began. Just like Oabe's showed up recently too, right? Oabe's back again, trying to resurrect what he stood for in the 18th century. We just revealed that just recently on our training. And if you're not part of our training, you're really missing out on those insights. Yes, you heard Lamaji correct. Abraham Lincoln's reincarnation is here live and well and trying to lead us back into the 22nd and 23rd century and return us to a republic. We're supposed to be a republic, not even a democracy, let alone a socialistic or communistic entity that so much of the world would have us go to. Freedom, freedom, freedom. Remember, freedom's not free. Baraka Bashad, may the blessings be to you and to your glorious family. See you soon.